Is Emma Meesseman on a Hall of Fame track? Let's talk about it as we get ready for Game 4 of the WNBA semifinals. Lockdown Women's Basketball starts now.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi there, everybody, and happy Tuesday to you. I am Howard Megdal, host of Locked On Women's Basketball. Very happy that you make us your first listen every day. Make sure you're subscribing wherever you get your podcasts or over on YouTube, where you can see me and the incredible staff at the Next, our smiling faces, because we cover women's basketball 24/7, 365. Also, make sure you go to thenexthoops.com, read the over 100 reported pieces. We've got stuff right now from people on the scene of the WNBA semifinals. Subscribing is $9 a month, $72 a year. It all goes towards making this women's basketball newsroom a reality. And later on today, I will be there. I won't be the only one at Game 4 of the WNBA semifinals between the Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky. We're going to get into the states there. The states out in Seattle, Las Vegas Game 4 as well. WNBA semifinals may end tonight. They may not. It's going to be fascinating to see. But I want to dig in, and I want to talk about something that's going to sound really weird at first. And that is who I was thinking about during the post-game press conference of the Chicago Sky. Robert Horry. That's interesting. Why Robert Horry? Why Robert Horry, an NBA player? An NBA player. Well, I'm going to tell you why. Robert Horry was a tremendous basketball player. Robert Horry, I remember the night he was drafted, the 11th overall pick in 1992. Robert Horry played through the 2007-2008 season. Horry was known as the nickname Big Shot Bob. And Rudy Tomjanovich said this during his Hall of Fame induction in 2021. In that spirit, I want to speak up for Robert Horry to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's truly a legendary player. He's made so many clutch shots. He's got 7 rings to prove it. This is where he belongs. Big words. Big Shot Bob. I think Robert Horry ultimately will make it to the Hall of Fame and should. But if he does, let me tell you who has an even better case on its way already. That's right, Emma Meesseman. Emma Meesseman on Sunday afternoon was the reason why the Chicago Sky are now 1 game away from the WNBA Finals. Emma Meesseman, at a moment in time that the Chicago Sky were struggling for offense, as were the Sun, after defending all afternoon, managed to score a baseline jump shot that stopped the 66-64 deadlock, turned it into a 68-64 lead, and ultimately led to a Chicago Sky victory. Emma Meesseman is a clutch performer, period. This is not the first time. It was not the first time that she managed to be a clutch performer in that moment either. All afternoon, in conjunction with Candace Parker, in conjunction with Azurá Stevens, Emma Meesseman was dominant on the defensive end. Emma Meesseman, who led her team in win shares this season. Emma Meesseman, who was on my all-WNBA first team, is an elite player. Emma Meesseman on Sunday afternoon had 13 points. She had 6 assists and 5 steals. Courtney Vandersloot is one of the great distributors in the history of this league. In a critical game on the road, do you know who had the most assists on the Chicago Sky? Emma Meesseman. 5 steals from a big, shutting down the league's reigning MVP from last year in John Paul Jones. And we talked about that yesterday on the show. What a big deal that was, how utterly frustrated John Paul Jones was from Emma Meesseman. So let's look at this a little bit, shall we? Robert Horry, 7 championships. 7 championships. Very impressive. A lot of those came in his 30s. Okay? He won in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2005, and 2007. That was all age 29 and beyond. Well, Emma Meesseman is still just 29 years old. Just made her second All-Star team. Significant in and of itself. Showing that she is an elite player year-round. Robert Horry didn't make a single All-Star team, by the way. Not criticism of him, but just if we're talking about level of play, Big Shot Bob was a very solid player, an excellent player, and a critical clutch player. Emma Meesseman has been a better game in, game out player. And talk about efficiency. Robert Horry shot 42.5% from the field, 34.1% from 3. Emma Meesseman in her career, 52.2% from the field, 37.1% from 3. Emma Meesseman made almost 58% of her shots this year. She averages 26 minutes per game. Robert Horry, 24.5 in his career. And remember, those are 48-minute games, not 40-minute games. Robert Horry, 7 points per game. Emma Meesseman, 11.5 points per game, up above 12 each of the past 5 seasons. Robert Horry, some big, big shots, right? Emma Meesseman was the 2019 WNBA Finals MVP. If the Chicago Sky win here, she's going to have 2 titles before the age of 30, just like Horry. She also has an overwhelming international career that she has the opportunity to add to. What I am suggesting to you is we may just be seeing over this next month Emma Meesseman solidifying her case for the Hall of Fame. Not something talked about very often. Something that needs to be talked about when we think about the greatness of Emma Meesseman. Very significant here to me. You want to talk about Hall of Fame, though, you have to talk about Built Bar Puffs. And perhaps the 2019 Emma Meesseman moment for the Built Bar is the cookie dough chunk puffs. I'm heading over to Mohegan Sun in a little while to cover Game 4. You better believe that what the energy is that's getting me there are the chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks, and 100% real chocolate of the cookie dough chunk puffs. Oh, but Howard, what about your health, you might be asking? Well, thank you, first of all, for looking out for me. But cookie dough chunk puffs are only 160 calories, and they've got 15 grams of protein in them. I'd be taking my life into my hands by not eating these. So go to built.com and use promo code LOCKEDON15. That is LOCKEDON15 and get 15% off your order. That is promo code LOCKEDON15. And tell them Grandma Myrna sent you. The other half of Emma Meesseman here in the clutch is the level of respect and what it meant that the Chicago Sky signed her. Just put it in context, will you? Chicago Sky just won a championship in 2021. What did James Wade do? He didn't just run it back. He mostly ran it back. But when he had a chance, and you're always taking a chance when you mess with the chemistry in a locker room, when you had a chance to add Emma Meesseman, no disrespect to Steph Dolson, was a critical member of the New York Liberty this year. But the Chicago Sky decided we're going to go get Emma Meesseman, added her to the mix. So I asked Emma and I asked James what those moments were like, whether that moment at 66-64, that shot that turned, I would argue, the course of this series on its head. They never trailed after that, never trailed. I asked Emma what it meant, and I asked James whether this was the idea. This was the moment you sign Emma Meesseman for. The big shot moment, right? Sound familiar? So let's hear what James had to say, what Emma had to say, what Candace Parker had to say. Somebody who understands basketball better than anyone in this league. Here they are. I'm Howard Megdal. You are listening to Locked on Women's Basketball.
All right, we'll start with in-person questions, and then we'll go to Zoom if we have some time. Annie and then Alexa.
Candace, when Sue was shooting her free throws at the end of the game, it sounded like you said, I can play his game, her game, our game. Can you share with us, what message you were sharing with your team as you exited the game?
No, I just think our mentality, has to be, especially when you're coming into a hostile environment like this. Like, we know Connecticut is a physical team. We know that, we have our work cut out, playing them. And we knew game 3 was going to be a grind. And that's what we try to do. We try to, evolve and adjust to the circumstance and adjust to the game. And I think that, when we're able to do that, we came out on top just because we were able to adjust to how physical the game was and, what we needed to do.
This was a very evenly played game, and all week, James, you've talked about the mental toughness of your team. Candace, you talked about it after game 2. How much was that on display today? Every time, they went on a run, you guys exerting that mental toughness that, James, you said separates the good from the great.
I mean, you have to in this type of environment. It's the playoffs, so we have to build. We have to play on what we built throughout the season, and one thing that we've prided ourselves is playing together throughout adversity, and I thought that we did a good job of it. We responded well to their runs. We didn't have any lulls, and even though it was a defensive and physical battle, I thought that we were up for the challenge, and we came out victorious.
James, building off of that, what were you so pleased about with your defense?
Alexa, I can't hear you. You talk too far away from that mic.
Is this any better?
That's better.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What pleased you the most about the way your team was able to respond defensively, especially in the fourth, to hold Connecticut to just 11 points?
I thought we did a great job of not giving up any second chance opportunities, and we kept them out of transition because we weren't turning the ball over. So if it's a half-court game, we felt that the odds were in our favor to put them into a difficult situation. Now they're a great team, but I thought we were executing really well defensively when we were able to play 5-on-5, and we just wanted to give ourselves a shot. So that's what it all came down to in the fourth quarter, giving us a shot to play each other 5-on-5 and then rebounding out of it.
Emma, one for you, and James, one for you. 66-64, this was deadlocked for quite a few possessions. Take me through what's going through your mind at that moment. How much are you looking to be aggressive to get a shot in that spot, and how much you're drawing on past playoff successes when you're doing that?
I think we've had a lot of close games this season, so we kind of know what we have to do, and especially against this team, have to be very physical to get something open. And I think in the end that we did a really good job of moving the ball a couple of times. I don't think it was even a play. We just kept on moving and, playing beautiful basketball, like we call it. And that's what got us open.
And James, just to that end, obviously when you brought in Candace, it was with championship plays in mind that she made last year. Bringing Emma here, is that what you had in mind, and was that going through your mind as she did it?
Yeah, it's what I had in mind. They're great players, and they've responded in great moments and big moments, and so we needed them to be who they are and respond in the big moments like today. And this is what I had in mind, we just want great players to be great, and so sometimes the best job I can do is just get out of the way. All right.
Candace, two things. First off, how's your eye?
I can see, I'm good.
Okay. Second thing is just the defense in that last, 5.5 minutes. I mean, they scored to go up, and then Ka hit a three to put you guys up, and you didn't show after that. And I think they didn't score for 4.5 minutes. Just talk about the defense in that last part of the game and how you held them to really nothing until the game was basically over.
I think, we do it in a collective effort. I think our, just in terms of instinct and playing off of rotations, I was proud of us in the way that we made adjustments, both individually and team defense. And I think down the stretch, we were able to kind of play to that. And I think the biggest thing is, sometimes, especially in years past, we would play great defense and then we would give up the offensive board. And we were able to finish the play. And I think that that allows us to have the confidence to be able to play in secondary and to play fast.
Hey, Coach. First off, just a question for you. It looks like anytime that the Sun got on any type of run more than 6-8 points, you called a timeout and you were really trying to mess up the momentum. Is that something that you were trying to game plan for heading into this game, knowing that it would lead to more runs? No,
so I got 10 people on the sideline that I have to answer to. They make me do suicides if I, try to let us go through runs. No, I mean, it's a tactical choice that we don't want them to go on runs, so we settle our composure. We settle our composure and we just, breathe a little bit, get together on the sideline, and then we just try to come out of it okay.
And then Emma, for you, you really wanted to focus on your defensive effort after game one, and then today you had 5-6 steals. What have been the things that you've really been focusing on leading into game two and into game three defensively that allowed you to show out today?
Just being active in defense, like Candace said, it's really a team effort. It's being in rotation, being early, and I think if you do it fast, if you do it aggressive, it's what makes them, pull back a little bit and throw bad passes. So it's just me being in the end and getting the ball, but before that, there was probably like 3 rotations that made it hard for them.
Candace, I believe Emma used the phrase beautiful basketball a little earlier. Can you define that for me? Kind of explain what that means and what that looks like?
Well, tonight, I don't know if it was as beautiful as we wanted it to be. But I think just it's playing, we have playmakers on our team, and, anytime you have a front court that can, combine for 10 assists, 10 of our 20 assists, just in terms of us being in the middle of the floor and reading off each other. Emma is one of the smartest players that I've ever played with, and her instincts. And so you add that to Sloot, who's a playmaker and able to make plays. We have high IQ players on our team. And so playing beautiful basketball means that sometimes it's going to come down to just playing and reading. And that's a lot in secondary, and that's a lot in transition, is just reading each other. And so we were able to do that when it mattered tonight, and I'd hope we would do it a little better come Tuesday.
Any more questions for players and coaches? All right, thank you.
Thank you for making Locked On Women's Basketball your first listen every day. Now that you've done so, go ahead for your second listen and check out the Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022. It's an 8-episode extravaganza to get you ready for the NFL season. The local team experts of the Locked On Podcast Network, plus a betting angle from Lee Sterling of Locked On Bets, all combining into one ultimate NFL preview. Search for Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022 on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back with you tomorrow, talking all about the WNBA semifinal Game 4s that are happening tonight. Make sure you're tuning in. I cannot wait. And of course, we are here every single weekday talking about the game that we all love. I am Howard Megdal, wishing you a wonderful Tuesday.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.